I'm going to move the amendment.
Again, I will repeat myself. Unless you can produce some authority that allows a member to move an amendment. Yes. No, Mr. Chairman. Let me start that way. We're going to move closer on this matter and move straight again. Let me be clear. Please, members. Then from the government side is saying that there's no objection to the amendment being moved. So if there's no objection, if the member for Foxhill wishes to move the amendment, if there's no objection, the amendment can be moved.
Now, so I begin again. To allow for, what I'm trying to do is to allow for a $1.3 million allocation or increase in the line item to allow for the point which I had raised during the intervention I made in the debate, which is this question of people who are indigent and seek to access the resources of the Department of Social.
Which line item you on?
The line item is 521810, subsistence support of persons not by contract.
That's under block 50?
That's under block 50. Yes, the amendment is written out. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, that's correct. You got the number.
So you with me?
Yeah, fine. Go ahead.
And I've begun that within the head 521810, subsistence support of persons not by contract, delete the amount in that line that now exists at $1,573,855 and replace it with the figure $2,953,855. And secondly, in the schedule to the bill, delete the figure at head 44 at $32,323,288 and replace it with the figure $33,623,288. And in the schedule, delete the figure at the total $1.268 billion and replace it with $1.269,950,325. And the idea is the minimum right now is $1,300 for a cremation. The figure, which I understand the Department of Social Services now offers, is $650 for if there is a request from someone who is indigent. And so I'm suggesting that this item needs to be increased, and that that 1.3 million additional dollars be allocated to do so. And that's the reason for the amendment, and I so move.
Is there a second?
Yes.
Second.
Order that the amendment be brought up. It has been moved and seconded that the following amendment be agreed. Within head 50, item 521810, subsistence support of persons not by contract, delete the amount in the line that now exists at $1,573,855 and replace it with the figure $2,953,855. 2, in the schedule to the bill, delete the figure at head 44, $32,323,288 and replace it with the figure $33,623, 288. And 3, the schedule delete the figure at the total $1,268,650,325 and replace it with $1,369,950,325. As many as are in favor would remain seated. Those opposed would rise. The amendment has not been agreed.
Chairman, I move that the question be put on head 24.
It has been moved.
As many of the question be put. Close it out.
Yes.
It's closed out. It's closed out. No. Mr. Chairman, I move that the question be put on head 24.
It has been moved and seconded that head 44 be agreed. As many as are in favor to remain seated, those opposed may rise. Head 44 has been agreed.
Mr. Chairman, I move that heads 45 through 72 be agreed, and I move that I second the motion.
It is moved and seconded that head 45 through 72 be agreed. As many as are in favor to remain seated, those opposed may rise. Head 45 through 72 has been agreed.
Mr. Chairman, I move that a bill for an act for the appropriation of diverse sums of money towards defraying the expenses of the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas on revenue account for the financial year commencing 1st July 2010 and ending 30th of June 2011 to be agreed as amended. Be agreed in its entirety. Be agreed in its entirety.
It is moved and seconded that a bill for an act for the appropriation of diverse sums of money going towards defraying the expenses of the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas on a revenue account for the financial year commencing 1st July 2010 and ending 30th of June 2011 be agreed in its entirety. As many as are in favor will remain seated. Those opposed will rise. The bill has been agreed in its entirety. Member from Mount Moriah.
Mr. Chairman, I move that a bill for an act. I move that a bill for an act for the appropriation of the sum of $265,329,100.
And we are the government. We determine what the rates are.
My way, or the highway philosophy of the FNM, has run its course. Enough is enough.
While Progressive Liberal Party leader Perry Christie recognizes that opposition parties have responsibility without authority in executing power, the opposition must be involved in governance of the country and challenging policies of the majority. However, according to the PLP, Thursday night session of the House of Assembly proved otherwise. Christie lamented that individual officers of the state failed their duties.
The system contemplates that ministers will be examined at budget time about their offices, the budget, and their spending priorities. By shutting down the debate as they did, the government side shortchanged the public in its right to know. This principle of transparency that the Prime Minister is so fond of boasting about.
But walking out of the House of Assembly is just another way the PLP says they won't condone the Hubert Ingram-led style of governance.
What really surprised us and shocked us was that the government, the Prime Minister coming in, allowing us to put the amendment, making it therefore a permissible amendment, since he and his cabinet would have allowed that to happen, and then shut down debate thereafter on the examination of the recurrent bill. And that in itself prevented us from being able to test and challenge the government on all of the ministries and departments that were left to be examined.